Alright, hey guys, welcome back to another video blog. Today I want to talk about a book, because last night I read a book from cover to cover. Yeah, I know, crazy, right? What you're hearing in the background, if you do hear that, that's a smoothie being made, because those are healthy, and we eat those here at my house. So last night I couldn't sleep. So I think I woke up between 3 or 4 in the morning, couldn't sleep. And instead of staring at my phone, which would just make me sleep less, I decided to read a book. And so I picked up this book. I don't know if you can read this. It says Prodigal God, The Prodigal God, by Timothy Keller. Anyway, this book is absolutely incredible. It's pretty short. As you can see, it's kind of tiny, and like each page is like half a page of like a normal book. It's incredible. It basically is an in-depth look into the popular parable, one of the stories Jesus told. You've probably heard it referred to as Prodigal Son, about a son who asks his father for his inheritance and then leaves and goes and squanders all his money on all kinds of wild living. And then comes back to his father, hoping that he can work as a hired hand or something like that. And his father accepts him back as his son, restores everything to him, puts on his best robe on his son, basically saying, you're my son again. And that's the story that most people have heard. It revolves around this younger brother, the prodigal son. This book is called The Prodigal God. And that's because definition of prodigal, let's just get that up here. Prodigal: 1, reckless, extravagant, or 2, having spent everything. So we often think of this word as like, oh, this means somebody off course or whatever, but this actually means like extravagant spending, the opposite of being thrifty. And the idea of this book is to explore how God, our God, is extravagant with his love towards us, and how this parable shows that. Also, it really highlights that there are 2 brothers, not just one brother, but there's also an elder brother, an older brother. And it's really incredible how it uses these 2 brothers to show the 2 types of sort of people there are. They're the people that try to get that they want to have a relationship with God. They want to obey his rules and things like that, so that they can get something from God, some kind of reward. And that's the elder brother. He's the one who stayed with his father, always did what his father said, and he's really upset when his younger brother returns home and his father accepts him. And then there's the younger brother, the popular character in the story, who could kind of care less about his dad. He wants his inheritance now. His dad is really only a means to an ends as well, and he basically does the opposite. He pursues whatever he wants, sort of a hedonist lifestyle, and ends up spending all of his inheritance. But that really, we as Christians, believers, or even unbelievers, kind of fall into one of these 2 categories. We are getting our joy from life either by doing things right so that we can get some kind of reward, or just pursuing everything right now. I want it right now. I want to have it right now. And anyway, it's just an incredible book, and it shows how the people that Jesus is addressing when he's telling this parable is actually the Pharisees, and they would have identified with the elder brother, the people that obeyed God's law. And what's interesting about Timothy Keller's book here is that he points out how Jesus says, what both of these brothers are doing is sinful. The relationship they have with the Father is not because they love the Father, but because they want something that the Father has, that the Father can give them. And but he suggests that Jesus is saying, what the elder brother is doing is worse than what the younger brother is doing. The elder brother sin is less obvious but more dangerous, in that he is doing all of the right things, but for all the wrong reasons. And it's pretty pretty incredible. It's very humbling if you're a person who's in church, you've been in church your whole life, and you realize that you're kind of an elder brother. You've always done the right things or whatever, and you might look down upon people who have made these type of choices, like the younger brother, and Jesus says, hey, your sin is just as bad, in that you are pursuing, doing the right things, you're living morally or whatever, so that God will bless you, instead of seeing a relationship with God, a relationship with Jesus as its own reward. There's so much more in this book than what I just said. I talked a little bit about it this morning with my roommates because I was so excited about it. But I truly believe that this book, the subtitle is called "Recovering the Heart of the Christian Faith," and I think this parable really highlights the good news, the gospel message for Christians, and it really recenters what we should be doing, where our focus should be as Christians, on Christ. And one of the things that Tim brings up is it says in the Bible that God gives grace to the humble and resists the proud. And both the elder brother and the younger brother, both of their motivations for doing what they do, either obeying the father or disobeying the father, are rooted in their pride, in them deserving something from their father. So the older brother feels he deserves it because he's done all the right things, and the younger brother feels he deserves it just because he's a son. And neither of them are really in it for the relationship with their father. And sort of the climax of this book, and I hope you don't think that because I'm telling you this that you shouldn't read it, because there's so much more in this book than what I'm saying, is that Jesus is the true elder brother. He's the elder brother that obeyed the father and then took responsibility for his younger brother and went and got him. And actually, just before Jesus tells this parable in Matthew, he tells two other parables. One of them is about a shepherd leaving his flock of sheep for the one that's lost, and another one is about a woman searching for a lost coin. And in those examples, Jesus are those characters that sort of representative of this elder brother that leaves everything, leaves his inheritance behind, sacrifices that for the sake of the lost brother or the lost sheep or the lost coin. Anyway, it's just an awesome book. I highly recommend it. You can read it in 2 to 3 hours. You can read it at a normal time. You don't have to read it at 3 a.m. like I did. But you can, I think this book is almost pretty, I think it's at a lot of bookstores and stuff. I don't think you have to go necessarily to a Christian bookstore to find it. I think you can probably find it Indigo or Chapters or something like that. Awesome book. Please read it. I posted on Facebook the other day that if you are, you want to fall in love with Jesus, if you want to fall in love with Jesus again, or maybe for the first time, read this book. If you have been a Christian for a while and you feel like you're in a desert and your relationship with God isn't something you're excited about, read this book. If you've heard about this Jesus person and Christians and things and you don't really know what it's all about, read this book. If you are an atheist and you think God is a joke, but you like reading good stories, read this book. If you are a theologian and you think you know everything about God and you're really proud of your knowledge, read this book. It'll humble you. And God gives grace to the humble. And really that's the goal that I see at the end of this book, is that God wants us to be humble so that we can receive His grace, and so that we can understand that our true reward is a relationship with God, and that out of that relationship we can serve others. We can go and love the lost, and we can sacrifice our inheritance for the sake of our lost brothers and sisters and pursue them and love them as Christ has pursued and loved us. Read this book. It's so great. Yeah, cool. Hope you're having an awesome day. Love you lots. Be encouraged. And we'll do another one of these on the flippity flip. Peace.